Welcome to another episode of Just Talk with Gabe. I'm here, my sidekick is here,
and
so is our guest. Let's get started. Who do we have on today's show?
Today we are continuing with Season 4 fun with actor, model, and acting coach Alfonso Aguirre.
I can't wait to hear all about him.
Absolutely.
But, before we get started, let's give a shout out to our sponsors, Faye Life Clothing, BCK Online, and Link PR.
Faye Life Clothing is a unique clothing line out of Atlanta, Georgia, geared towards those who love intoxicating style.
BCK Online is a digital online magazine that keeps you in the know and up to date on the lives of young entertainers, rising stars, parents, and much more.
And our newest addition to the family, Link PR, is definitely the missing link to your success in the entertainment industry.
I'm glad Faye Life and BCK Online are both back for another season, and welcome Link PR. Alright guys, go grab your snacks, sit back, relax, and as always, enjoy the show. Alfonso, welcome to the show. We're glad you could join us for an episode of Just Talk with Gabe.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. Now let's get into it. I know I said I was going to do a question in Spanish, so hola, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien, muy bien. ¿Y tú?
I'm doing good. That's about all I got.
Yeah, that's about the extent of the Spanish lesson.
Sorry,
Okay. You get an A for effort.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You are an actor, model, and coach. Tell us how you got started in the industry.
Okay. Yes. So I always liked all kinds of arts, and when I was in high school, I learned how to play guitar, and really that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a musician.
That's cool.
But in school, you have to take all these classes, and one of the classes that I had to take was theater. And even though I was kind of good at it, I didn't really like it. I didn't think it was cool. And I wanted to be like the Mexican Kurt Cobain.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I had the long hair and the plaid shirts, all that stuff. And yeah, I played guitar, and I was in all these bands, and I was in a kind of mildly successful local band when I lived in Monterrey. We sold records and we toured, and it was a great time. So I guess I with that I learned that I liked performing.
Cool.
And so when years later I moved to the United States, one day I just woke up. I had this dream that I was an actor, and this was like years later, 20 plus years later from when I was in high school, of course. And I told my wife, like, hey, I had this dream that I was an actor, and it just felt so real. And she was like, well, why don't you look up an acting school? And I think that was the moment when I was like, wow, okay, sure, let's see what happens.
You're right.
And so I signed up for a class here in Houston in the Heights. And after my first class, it was like, wow, yeah, I think I should be doing this.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Yeah,
that's how it started. Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that is. So, out of all your projects, which would you say is your favorite and why?
Okay, so there is one that I did last year that I can't talk about.
Right.
Right.
And I would love to talk about it. I can't. But this was definitely it's a big television show. It was my first co-star.
Oh, wow.
And so that was super exciting, and hopefully this will air this year. So if you guys have me on again sometime,
Absolutely. So that's going to be a reason to have you to come back to talk about
definitely discuss it. Yes. That was definitely my favorite project. But one that I can't talk about was doing this short film called Foiled. It's a short film that I was lucky to be cast back in late 2019. And because of the pandemic, everything, how everything went, and everything kind of got postponed and stuff. So the film went through all these delays. And because of that, it was actually able to be submitted to the Austin Film Festival
Oh, wow.
for this year. And so it was kind of funny. That was my first red carpet moment, and that was our official screening, and it was just really cool, you know. So that's definitely one of my favorites that I can talk about.
That's cool.
That is. Now, is there one role that you portray that you would say is the most like you?
I think my role in that short film, I portrayed a coach. I was a baseball coach for like a little league team, and I think that's very, you know, the character that they wrote um, felt like it was really like a really good fit for me. You know, kind of like I teach also, and I teach kids, and so I feel like mentoring is also one of my, I guess it's one of the things that I really like to do. It's
Mhm.
one of the things that I really enjoy, and uh, and so in this film, you know, this is a baseball coach, but he also teaches these kids some life lessons. So uh, I think, you know, being a positive influence on other people, I think that that was what really attracted me to this character, in which I'm really happy that I was able to get it.
Oh, that's cool.
It is.
Now, can people watch Foiled? Can we like go online and watch it, or is it still coming out soon?
I think it's they're still working on where it's gonna come out.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, so this was a project that was filmed through the UT, the University of Texas in Austin.
Oh, wow.
They have a class called Script to Screen, and it's a class that Matthew McConaughey and Scott Rice teach.
Oh,
I don't know if you
wow.
guys have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so Scott Rice is the main instructor, and Matthew McConaughey is like a guest instructor. And he comes in whenever he can, right? Whenever he's available.
Right.
And so this class was part of that. I mean, this film was part of that class. Um, so it was really cool. It was really exciting to join a project like this. So I don't know if they're gonna put it, you know, online or anywhere. I mean, I have a copy, but uh, hopefully it'll be out there, you know, somewhere, you know, because
Okay.
it's a really nice film. It's a short film. It's only 10 minutes long, but it's a really, really cute film, and I really enjoyed being part of it.
Well, you have to keep us up to date, and
Yes,
we'll
you
have
do.
to update everyone. Hopefully, if it comes out for everybody to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great. That would be awesome.
All right. Now, if you could write the perfect role for yourself, what would it be and why?
I think something that involves being a teacher again, like something being where I like being, I guess, somebody that can share knowledge.
Right.
I really enjoy teaching, and um, no matter where I get in my career, I think I will always go back to teaching because it's very important to me. I think the classroom gives me life. You know, seeing my students understand something and then start practicing it, um, or then seeing them on screen, like when they book their first project. To me, it's really cool. So maybe something like that, where I would be an instructor or a teacher or somebody who passes knowledge along. I don't have all the answers to everything, but I've learned through, you know, making mistakes uh, and also making some, I guess, bold risks.
Right.
Right.
And I like passing that along, you know, because if it helps my students, then I'm doing my part.
That's good.
Yes, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you've worked with a lot of actors. Tell us, who are some of your favorite actors that you've worked with?
Um, well, the one that I would love to disclose, which I
Oh,
can't,
no.
Oh, no.
has been around for decades,
Okay.
and he's done like some of the most iconic television characters, villains,
Mm.
I can say that,
Uh-huh.
and in television. So again, hopefully soon I can disclose that.
Fingers
Right.
Um,
Fingers
crossed.
crossed.
We'll have to have a part
super,
two.
Yes.
yes, super nice guy, and to me, like sitting next to him for like 4 hours, 5 hours, and talking to him like we're peers.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm like, maybe I can be an actor because I look so cool outside, but inside I'm freaking out, right? um, but definitely, I love working with all kinds of talent where you create a bond and you create a friendship, you create a network. I'm still friends with people that were my classmates when I first started that first class.
Oh,
When I
that's
first
awesome.
sat down and took my first lesson, I've done projects with them, and perhaps they don't have a big household name yet, but they're working and they're constantly doing big stuff, and um, I think that's something to aspire, being a part of a group that is constantly challenging themselves and working and, always going up, you know?
That's true.
That is true.
That is true. Now, I guess the second part of that is, who are some of the actors that are on your wish list to work with?
Okay. That's
That's an
an
easier
easy
one.
one. Yes, that's an easier one. I would definitely love to work with somebody like Dwayne Johnson, The
Oh,
Rock.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that'd be fun.
that would be fun.
Um, Not because of his acting skills, but because of his story. I think I
Yeah,
relate a lot to his story of, starting from the bottom and, uh, just working his way up. And I feel like that is a story of, discipline, and
that's true.
That is true.
and
Yeah.
and a lot of actors, a lot of new actors think that just because they have good looks, or because they're maybe popular on a social platform, they have it made, and that's not that's not the reality,
Right.
right?
Right.
They're right, like having good looks, having a good platform, being Insta famous or whatever will probably get you an audition, right?
That's true.
That's
But
true.
that doesn't guarantee you the job, you know?
That's true.
That is true.
And I like the fact that there are people like Dwayne Johnson that have worked hard for years and they've struggled to get to where they are. And now look at him. He's freaking everywhere. If I open a box of cereal right now, he's gonna be in there. You know?
That's
That
true.
Um,
is true.
yeah, so I like that. I like stories of being disciplined and being persistent because it's very easy to quit.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think every actor, I think we've had this conversation before, Gabe. Like
Yeah.
every actor like struggles at some point. You feel
Exactly.
like you're stuck and you feel like, um, okay, so nothing's happening right now. Uh, should I still be doing this? I think everybody questions themselves at some point, and that's normal. That's natural because we want things to happen, right?
Right.
But I think also a key thing here is to be patient and just to keep working on yourself and working on your craft, working on your skills. And when the next opportunity comes in, you'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
That's great
That
advice. See,
is.
I don't know how you actors can do it because I don't think I have the patience. So I admire
You
y'all.
just have to have patience.
Yeah,
That's
you
it.
have to have patience, and I admire that. Out of you, Gabe, your colleagues, it's just something that I don't think I would want a part of. However, now Alfonso, if you do get that job with The Rock, you need a PA. So I'm
Of
just going to
course, of
go ahead
course.
and throw my name in the
Oh boy,
hat.
here we go.
Of course. And you know what? Just to make this kind of like come full circle, I actually had an audition for a movie with The Rock.
Oh, that's
Oh
And
wow.
awesome.
and obviously it was a very tiny role, but it was a speaking role, and it was in the movie Red Notice.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I
And
watched that.
so if you watch, there's a scene where they're about to go in, and I don't want to spoil the movie for whoever hasn't watched it, but they're gonna go and try to steal some kind of artifact in this masquerade ball.
Uh
Uh
huh.
huh.
And so there's this like high-end head waiter comes to talk to them, and so I auditioned for that role.
Oh,
Oh
So
cool.
wow.
so that was kind of cool because I would have met Ryan Reynolds also, so that would have
Yeah,
been exciting.
That's one of
Uh,
Gabe's
yeah, I want to
favorite
work with
people.
Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds.
he's total Ryan Reynolds nut.
mhm.
So
Right. So
Yeah, so and I think in this career you also learn to appreciate the opportunities. It's like, okay, I
mhm,
that's
didn't get it,
true.
but wow, I mean, I could have, you know, and that doesn't mean that you weren't ready or that maybe you weren't good enough or whatever it is. Just sometimes somebody is perfect for the role.
right,
Right.
right. If
And
they want somebody with blonde hair and you have brown hair, then
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you weren't good enough. You just don't have blonde hair. So
Right. And yes. And so I always try to tell my students too, is like, it's not about you. You know,
that's true.
you can do your best and that's it. Just know that you did your best, you know, but there's so many variables that we can't control. So don't personalize it. Don't make it about you. Don't think that, you know, don't think that I guess that you're not good enough, you know.
Right.
Right, right. Now, as a model, what would you say is the hardest part about doing
Oh, staying in shape.
that? Okay. Yeah.
Staying in shape because, you know, working out is that's the easy part. You know, the hard part is staying consistent on your diet. You
Oh,
know, staying
Yeah.
consistent on your diet, you know, and that sounds so cliche, but you know, if you're a model, you know, your looks are part of your business card, you know.
that's
Yeah, I don't
true.
know, man. Those Oreos are looking real good.
Yes. And I do love my pancakes too, and so it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't have pancakes for like a month, you know, but um you know, it's everything's in moderation, you know.
Right.
I'm not it's one thing to be a model and it's another thing to be like a fitness model, right?
That's true.
Right.
So so I had abs at some point pre-pandemic. I haven't seen them since 2019.
There you
There
go.
you go.
I think a lot of
But
us are in that boat. So
Oh,
right.
right.
But I still try to maintain myself at a decent shape where I still look like I do look athletic without having to be like shredded or whatever, right?
Right.
right.
So I think everything in moderation is always the best advice. Um, my trainer used to say you should follow the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule means 80% of the time stay consistent with your nutrition, with your diet and everything. And then that 20% that you have left, you can still enjoy some fun foods. You
I
know, just don't
understand.
go overboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so those
You know.
Oreos are on the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just
You
not the
hit-
whole pack.
Oh,
Right.
well, then I guess I'm not following the 80-20 rule, Alfonso.
Right. You're also an acting coach. So how did you get started with that?
Yes, yes, I am, and humbly, I'll say, I think I was kind of thrown into that because I used to be a teacher when I was in Mexico. I used to live in Mexico. That's where I was born,
Right.
and I used to teach at a college. I
Oh,
used to
wow.
teach
Oh wow.
English. Yes, I used to teach English for college students, and then I started teaching marketing courses because I have a degree in marketing.
Oh
Um,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, thank you. And yeah, so I did go to college. I did graduate. Um, and so I used to teach like sales courses or, you know, uh, market research and stuff like that, right? Um, and and so I guess I was a natural in the classroom, right? So when years later I came here to the States and I started doing the whole acting thing, when I got signed, I started auditioning, and you know, humbly I started getting a lot of audition requests. And so pre-pandemic, we had to do all of those auditions in person, right? So
Right.
right.
I had to go to Austin, I had to go to Dallas, I had to go to San Antonio, you know, here and there. Sometimes I would be on the road maybe 4 days a week or 5 days a week, go to
Wow.
Austin, come back, go to Dallas, come back, go to from Dallas, go to Austin, and then come
Oh, wow.
back. You know, it was a lot of driving, right? And so I learned a lot from auditioning. I learned a lot stuff that I didn't learn in the classroom. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I learned that by auditioning. I said things that I shouldn't have said. I did things that I shouldn't have done, and I kind of like started catching up on that. It's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Oh, maybe I should have done this. And kind of like all those experiences, started writing all of those down. And when the idea was presented, hey, do you want to teach? Do you want to be an acting coach? And I was like, you know what?
Oh, that's cool.
Expert, but I can always teach on what the experiences that I went through, you know, which are still
Right.
Texas experiences, you know, which is where my students are going to go through, right? So
Right.
that's
Right.
kind of how I got started. Yeah. And I always tell my students, look, I don't have all the answers, but if something worked for me, I'm always willing to share it. And if it works for you, then I did my job.
That's awesome.
It is.
That is really good. Now,
Thank you.
as an actor, model, coach, I'm sure you've had some aha moments. What can you share, I guess, a few of those with us?
Sure. I think when I was still a student, before I started, before I got signed, um, I was taking my classes and we were doing scenes, um, doing classwork, and there was this one time where I had to do this scene from like a crime drama kind of television show. And I remember doing the scene, my teacher told me, okay, here's your lines, memorize them, work with them, and do the scene, right? So I did my scene with my partner. I thought it was great. Um, and once we were done with the scene, my teacher was like, eh. And you're like, all right, how about you try it again? But he was like, now try to pretend that the victim of this case is somebody who you know.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And so he directed me to actually make it personal, right?
Mhm.
And so, who do you care about the most? And I'm like, okay, well, my wife, right? Okay, so I started thinking about that, and just by thinking about it, it was like everything completely changed. Um, I already knew the lines. I had already memorized the lines. So now, when you make it personal, or when you focus on the acting, then just everything flows, you
right.
know.
Right.
So when we were done, I was crying. My classmates were crying, and it was
Good
just
job.
great, right? And I remember my teacher saying that was great, and I'm still bawling, right? And I'm like, how do I turn it off? So I thought that was an aha moment when I thought, wow, okay, if I really dedicate into learning this, I can do this. So I think that was the first that was the first night that I thought, wow, okay, I'm not just navigating through this. I think I could do this. I could be a good actor, you know?
That's
Um,
cool.
It is.
yeah, that was a huge aha moment. And I guess the biggest one, and something I can say from this secret project that I can talk about,
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
was I was doing a commercial in Dallas, and I booked this television show, right? And so I was supposed to go to the fitting for this television show um, the the last day that I was shooting the commercial.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So so I was on set doing finishing the commercial, and then when I come out of the um, come out of our holding area, which is where they keep all the actors, right? I was at a base camp. There was a driver waiting for me to take me to the airport, where I was flown first class
Nice.
to
Nice.
a television show. And I had never flown first class. Obviously, I had never paid for that, right? So this was
Right.
free. So I felt like a kid when I was on the plane, right? So I was like, if they offer me snacks, I'm taking all of them. Screw the diet.
Yes, I want all the snacks.
So every time they would come, would you like some? Yes. I didn't even let them finish. Would you like some? Yes, of course. So I
Now,
think that was another aha moment.
did you get the hot towel?
I got the hot towel. I
Oh, in
got
the hot
We got
towel.
the
everything.
hot
Oh, yeah, the
towel.
Oh,
hot
Yeah.
towel was
I'm
awesome.
getting everything. Yes. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna fly first class again and free. I'm getting everything.
Right. Okay. We're,
that that
we're
is so cool. Well,
yeah. That's we're gonna go on a quick commercial break.
Okay,
Alfonso, would you stay with us for some fun after commercial?
definitely. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, guys.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Welcome back,
And
guys.
if you have not downloaded the Anchor.fm app,
Do it.
do it. Start making your own podcast today, and let's get back into the show.
The fun round.
All righty. Now, what would you say is your favorite city and why?
Okay, my favorite city is a beach in Mexico called Mazatlan or Mazatlan.
Uh-huh.
Uh huh.
It's not as well known as Cancun or Cabo or Puerto Vallarta, but it's in that area. It's in the Pacific, and it's beautiful. It's very close to my hometown. So I am a little bit biased. Um, but it's a beautiful beach, and the food is amazing. Anywhere you go, the food is just incredible. Every time I go there, I gain like 20 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But the food is just incredible. And I took my wife there a couple of years ago, and she absolutely loved it. She was like, "Oh my gosh, we need to buy a house here."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's called Mazatlan. It's in the state of Sinaloa, and it's just beautiful.
Oh, that sounds
That
awesome.
sounds awesome.
Okay, road trip, guys.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Now, if you had to write the story of your life, who would you want to portray you?
Uh, well, I guess that's going to be the casting director's job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they do their job right, they'll find someone.
Yeah.
Um, no, I mean, actually, like if it was something where it had to do with my early years, um, for that short film Foiled, I worked with this actor from Dallas. His name is Nico Morales, and he looks just like me when I
Oh,
was a
that's
kid.
Wow.
cool.
So in the film, I am the baseball coach, but he's in the team, but he's also my son.
Okay.
Okay.
And so we have scenes where we're in the field as coach and the team, and then we have scenes where I'm there with my son, right? And
Right.
it's kind of funny because sometimes I see his mom post pictures of him when he was even younger, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks just like me. So he's probably like 12, 13 right now. I'm not sure. But he still looks like me. So it's like, okay, if it had something to do with a younger me, I think Nico would be, at least he looks like me.
Oh,
And
that's
he's a good
cool.
actor, very professional. So as far as an older me, I don't know. That's a good question.
We'll leave that to casting though.
Yes.
Yes, we'll leave that to casting. Yes.
What is the hardest genre in acting to portray, in your opinion?
I think the hardest one is I think it's horror.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
that would be
yeah,
hard.
I think it's hard for several reasons, but one is being frightened is it's a very natural human reaction, right?
Right.
And when it's not portrayed authentically, you can tell it. You
Oh,
can
that's
spot it,
Oh
true.
yeah.
right? And that's why sometimes you watch some of these horror movies and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so cheesy. Like you
Yeah.
can't believe it, right? Um, but if you watch like I haven't watched a lot of horror films in a while, but I used to watch them a lot, right? And one of my favorites is The Shining.
Oh my God,
Um,
that's
I've
terrifying.
never
yeah,
seen The
The
Shining.
Shining is freaking terrifying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And when you see them like screaming or scared, when Jack Nicholson is like chasing them, it's like it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so terrified. It is a movie, and I'm still terrified, right? I know it's
Oh
not
yeah.
real,
Right.
but I'm still like biting my nails, right? So I think horror is probably the most difficult because when it's not done well, it's just cheesy,
That's true.
It's
cheesy as
true.
cheesier as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Horror.
Yeah.
Right.
Agree.
Now, speaking of fictional characters, Batman or Spider-Man?
Oh, that's an easy one. That's a layup for me. Even though Batman is my favorite from the DC comics, for me it's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
like
I
Spider-Man.
like
Easy.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy for me. I think the thing is that for me, he's more relatable
Yeah.
Yeah.
because how many of us are millionaires that have jets and tanks and stuff like that and live in a
Right.
mansion,
Well,
right?
Alfonso, I have to tell you, no, I'm joking.
We have our own Alfred.
Yes.
Ah,
Have a
there we
dog.
go.
Good enough.
No, Charlie's our Alfred. There you go.
He sometimes listens to us.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Secrets out. Uh, yeah, so for me also, you know how there's a lot of talk about representation now, right?
Right.
Right.
It's such a huge thing now, right? So when you see Batman, when he's fully suited, he's still, Bruce Wayne, he's still a Caucasian person, right? White dude. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't look like him, right?
Yeah.
So growing up, I couldn't relate to that. I don't live in a mansion. I don't have a jet, and I don't have all these toys, and I don't look like him, right?
Right.
Um, so when you look at Spider-Man, yeah, he's also a little Caucasian kid, but he's a kid with trouble. He's going through problems.
Right.
He struggles through life. He has to make decisions that are difficult, and I think people relate to that. And when he's in his suit, completely suited up, you can't see the color of his skin. So
It's
technically,
true.
anybody could be Spider-Man, right? So I think that's uh that's also one of the reasons why that character is so popular, right? Plus, they have all these versions now,
Right.
Right.
um, and there's a version that is half Mexican. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, I'm all for it. I'm
Was
all
it
for it.
Miles
Miles
Morales?
Morales,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, there's another one then. Yeah, because Miles is half, what is that, Cuban?
I
No,
thought he
Oh,
Puerto
was
Miguel
Rican.
O'Hara. That's the one you
Yeah,
mean.
yeah. Miles is half black and half
uh
Puerto Rican, I think.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's another one. Didn't know
And
about
You
it.
don't
there's
know
another
Miguel?
one named
Oh.
Miguel. Yes, and he's half Mexican and half Irish.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's an interesting concept.
it is.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm totally geeking out here and totally nerding out here, right?
Right.
But I think that's also one of the reasons why I always thought, and this is not a new concept. This character was created like in 1998 or something. So
Oh
it's
wow.
been years, right? Um, so anyway, yeah, Spider-Man in short.
Spider-Man hands down.
Now, we talked about food earlier, but what would you say is your favorite food?
Um, I I have my moments, my cycles. Like right now, I really like Indian food.
Oh, I like
Um, yeah, it's nice and spicy. I was born in Mexico, so I love all kinds of spicy stuff.
Right.
right.
My wife is Nigerian, and so their food is also very spicy. I love Nigerian food too. Um, so I can't pick a favorite because I guess it comes in different cycles or different times. But I can always count on pancakes to make me happy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this is I guess a free acting tip for whoever is listening. Sometimes they ask you in auditions to tell them a little bit about yourself, and you have to do that in less than 30 seconds. I'm like, what am I going to say in less than 30 seconds about me, right? So
Uh-huh.
I'll just say, hi, my name is Alfonso. I play guitar and I love pancakes. And
Nice.
that
Right.
usually makes me smile. And so there you go. You give them a little bit about you, and actually they get to see you smile, right?
There you
Right.
go.
So pancakes, yeah, pancakes for the
Okay.
win.
Well, since pancakes are the win for you, you have to go when you're in LA to the griddle.
Oh, yeah, the griddle.
Okay,
There's this
Oh,
giant
the
pancake.
pancakes are bigger than the plate, like
okay,
literally. And they have a gazillion. They have like banana foster pancakes. They have red velvet pancakes. They have your traditional pancake. I mean,
Yeah, it's
yes,
good.
it's good.
that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds great.
That's a
Um,
must visit.
Yes.
definitely on my list then. Because the last time I was in LA, I was eating pancakes for sure.
See, there you
See,
go.
there we go.
There you go. Now, okay, we've talked about food. Your favorite, character out of Batman and Spider-Man. Are you a
Mhm.
dog man or are you a cat
Nothing against cats,
man?
but definitely dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I have a pet companion, I want a pet companion that actually wants to be there with me,
Right.
Yeah.
not one that treats me like they hate me and they're just like, feed me, peasant.
Yes. Cats have the funniest look on their faces, like
Yeah, they do.
100% of the time. But yeah,
Yeah,
totally dogs.
yeah, they look not impressed,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. If you could only take 5 things to a desert island, what would they be?
Five things. Okay, first my guitar, because we're assuming, is there electricity in this island? Hopefully not. I guess not, right?
No.
Nope.
So my guitar. um, I think I would take a journal, pen and paper, so I can write my ideas. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Um, I would take a picture of my wife if I'm by myself. Um, I guess maybe a knife,
Okay.
a tool that can work,
Right.
and huh, a boat so I can leave when I'm when
There we
I'm
go.
There you
bored.
go. Boat.
That's awesome. Like a lot of people don't say boat,
Yeah.
which is
There you go.
you
That's like the
can
first thing I would think of. Yeah, a boat.
absolutely. So you can leave when you want. There you go.
Yeah, if I'm bored, I'll take the boat, right?
Right. Now, what
Yeah,
is
I
the one
think so.
thing? Oh, no, go ahead.
No, no, that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What's the one thing on your bucket list that you have to check off this year?
Okay, this is very very recent. I just talked about this with my agent, and last year was a really good year for me in Texas and in New Mexico. I got to do two projects in New Mexico. I actually got to audition for a couple of feature films in New Mexico, and it was a really good year for me in that area. So this year, I would love to focus on the Georgia market. I would like to do something in Atlanta. Um, so I think that's definitely one of the things that I want to focus on. Bucket list. Ooh, I mean, I would love to be in a Marvel film.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would
and
love to.
those, yeah, and those usually film in Georgia, in
That's
Atlanta.
It's
true.
true.
That's true.
So, uh, full disclosure, I was just submitted to a role for a Marvel thing,
Oh,
and
wow.
Awesome.
hopefully we'll get the audition. We'll see.
Fingers
Fingers
crossed.
crossed.
That would be
And
awesome.
I'm putting it out there because I believe in visualizing and you know talking things into existence, and I'm just putting it out there, and hopefully it comes back to me.
Exactly.
Exactly. Now, what is the first movie you remember seeing in theaters?
The first one that I remember watching was a movie with Michael Douglas and Danny DeVito. So these guys have been around for years, right?
Right.
So it was called Romancing the Stone,
Oh wow.
Wow.
and it was like kind of like an Indiana Jones kind of thing. Jungle looking for a treasure, running around. If you watch the Indiana Jones movies, it's kind of
Uh-huh.
like that.
Ah,
Okay.
let's see.
Yeah, so
The first movie I remember seeing in theaters was, I think, The Avengers, actually. That I
Really?
The
remember.
Avengers,
Yeah.
that seems like 2 weeks ago for me.
Yeah, it
I know,
does, but
right?
it just, yeah, it seems like 2 weeks ago, but it actually isn't.
That's
I,
Time.
I
crazy.
think
Yeah,
I
time
think
flies.
when I watched my first one, color TV had just been invented.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
Oh,
because both of us just sat here and kind of looked at each other. We're like, "Oh, no, really?"
No, I'm just kidding, but that's how old it feels. Like that's how long it feels. It has been.
right.
Awesome. I think the first movie I remember like vividly seeing was one I probably shouldn't have saw, but
Oh, boy.
was Purple Rain. So
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
a
Okay.
like massive Prince fan, and
Yeah.
it's
Really?
just
That's
yeah, and
that's what
that
I was
was
gonna ask you.
oh yeah, that's like the my number one. I got my number one go to, and I remember going to see it with my mom was taking my god sister, so I like kind of snuck along, and that was like it's Prince on the big screen. But yeah,
Oh,
That's
boy.
awesome.
Now, if you could be friends with any celebrity, who would it be?
Um, okay. I think I have a tie. It's a tie between Keanu Reeves
okay.
Okay, yeah.
and Paul Rudd.
Oh yeah, those are two good
They
ones.
are.
Like those two guys, they just seem like Keanu Reeves seems like such a chill dude, such an enigmatic dude, also kind of. And Paul Rudd just seems like just such a fun dude, Like I
Yeah.
don't feel like they take themselves too seriously, and I like that. I mean, these guys have sold millions of tickets to films, you know, and they don't act like they're better than other people,
No,
or at least I get that impression, and I like that
yeah,
because yeah, because that doesn't make you better than anyone. You you choose a profession and that's what you want to do, and if you are successful at it, that's great, but that doesn't make you a better person than other people who are doing something else, you know?
That's
That's
true.
true.
They do seem pretty down to
Yeah,
earth.
they do.
Yeah, I think humility goes a long way because people want to talk to you, they want to be around you, and they want to work with you if you're humble,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
you know?
Now, would you rather be an expert at one thing in particular or pretty good at just multiple things?
I think it's important to try different things because that's how you find the one that you want, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
I guess some people uh, maybe they're influenced by their parents or influenced by their friends. Like let's say my dad was a doctor, I want to be a doctor,
Right.
right? Or my mom was a ballerina, I want to be a ballerina, right? So sometimes we take the example from our parents, right? But I feel like it's important to try different things so you can find that one thing that really speaks to you. And sometimes it takes years for people to find out.
That's true.
I've
That's true.
yeah, I mean, I was a musician for 15 years, and I really loved it. And then I did photography for about 12 years. That's how I met my wife. She hired me to do a photo shoot for her, and now I have to beg her to take her picture. How that worked out. And but I got to marry the model, right?
Right?
Absolutely. There you go.
And then when I decided, you know what, I want to do acting, and I really dove into it, I was like, okay, now I know this is what I want to do. And so um, I think it's important to try different things because you might think you want to do something, and then you try something else. And it's like, wait, actually, I really love this. And going back to how we started this conversation, is my theater teacher told me that I needed to keep acting, and I didn't want to listen, because I wanted to be a Mexican Kurt Cobain, right?
Right.
Right.
And and I had to try that. And when I talked to my wife, she and I agree on this, that I needed to go the musician route and I guess get that out of my system. And then once that was away, it was like, okay, I enjoyed it while I did it. Now let me try this. And now that I'm doing this, I was like, yeah. Uh, I was young. I didn't know any better. And
Right.
now I agree with my teacher. And I
Did
needed
you?
to go through all these different things. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask, have you ever gotten the opportunity to tell that teacher kind of what you're doing now or?
No, unfortunately, I don't know if he's still around.
Oh,
He lives back in Mexico. Um, but I do have friends who were in those early courses, and some of them I'm still in touch with them. And so um, one of them I used to date, and and I know she sees that I'm still, I guess, active doing acting and stuff like that, and other friends from back then, and in a way that kind of reminds me of how things started for me.
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah. Is there a piece of advice you would give to people who want to be in this industry?
Yes, I can't point to just one piece of advice, but I would say you have to be, I guess, open to being teachable. Um, like I said earlier, having a certain look or being famous on the internet will just get you to a certain point. Maybe you'll get you an audition, right? But you
Right.
have to be prepared, you know.
Yeah,
Um, who cares if you look amazing if you can't say one line, you know?
that's
Um,
true.
That's true.
and so you don't always you can't always rely on your image. That's one thing. And but being prepared is what's going to open doors for you. Being consistent. I'm still taking classes right now. I'm taking classes with seeing classes with teachers from other states, and online classes. I feel like an actor should always be training. It's kind of like working out. You stop working out, and then 2 weeks later you want to do it again. You can't train the same way.
That's true.
That's true.
Your body's a little bit out of shape, a little bit out of condition, and everything hurts. right? You're
Oh
Right.
yeah.
a little bit rusty, right? And I think that actors, we need to always be training. We need to always be studying because if you don't use it, you lose it.
That's
It's
true.
true. So, in addition to all that you have going on, what's next for you?
What's next for me? In 2019, late 2019, I was planning this short film called Smeared that I wrote based on a monologue from an author in Monterrey, where I used to live,
Uh-huh.
and I that was another of those moments where I had this dream. It happens to me. I don't know. I don't know what's going
See?
on.
I'm telling
Uh,
you, I'm sending you a list and just
I'm still
meditate on that
right.
list for me.
Oh
I,
boy.
I'm I'm still dreaming of the winning lottery ticket, but that one doesn't work for me.
Oh, well, that was one on my list that I was, can you just give me
Yeah,
lottery numbers? Will these work?
I'm still I still haven't hit the Powerball, unfortunately. But so I had this dream about this. So it was this monologue that I had read a long time ago from this author from Monterrey, and I really liked it. And then so this time I woke up like at 3 in the morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, that could be made into a film. Maybe I could add this, and that, and all this. I started developing this whole story based on just this one monologue. And so anyway, I contacted the author and I asked her what she thought about it, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, that looks amazing! Yes, do it." Started writing it, casting, got a production, crew. We scheduled it. Everything was great. Did auditions, and then 2 weeks before we were filming, bam, pandemic.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
So we had to postpone everything. Then our videographer moved to the UK, so I needed to look for another crew. Then all the COVID restrictions, and we kind of like got stuck in limbo.
Right.
So this year, that's my thing, my bucket list thing that I need to scratch off. I need to make sure that we do that. Our budget changed, so I need to save a little bit some more because the people I'm talking to are a little bit more expensive than the people I had previously. But I also think that the quality will be better.
Oh, that'll be.
So
That'd be good.
yeah, yeah. So things happen for a reason.
They do.
I've learned more. All of the people that I had on the cast have been working more, so we all have more experience. So everything happens for a reason, like we said, and I think the performances will be better now because we're all more experienced now. And so yeah, so that's definitely something that we want to shoot for this summer.
That'd be good.
That would.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
What is the one thing you want our audience to know about you?
one thing I like to see the positive, always what's positive about everyone. Um, we all have something to offer. And even like when I get a new student, sometimes they feel a lot of pressure, like, oh, I need to do it perfectly. Or let's say we do an exercise and then we watch it on the screen. Oh my gosh, I don't like this. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, yeah, but you did this and this was good. Or yeah, you did this and this was great. And I always like to look at the positive things because we can't just focus on the negative. I like to find the strengths in people and play to their strengths, and then also identify whatever needs to be worked on, and then we try to work on that so it gets better as well. But I think taking an optimistic uh, attitude towards life opens a lot of doors.
That's
It's
true.
true.
That's absolutely true.
And then the final question is, where can people find you on social media?
Final question.
I know,
Yeah.
right? It feels like we just started.
Yeah, it does.
Wow. Okay. I was just warming up. No, I'm kidding.
Well, we
I
do
could
have to
talk
have
your
a part
ears off.
two.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So I can tell you about the stuff that I can't tell you about
Exactly.
today. um, where they can find me on social media, I have my own website. My website is www.thealfonsoaguirre.com. I am on Instagram, also very active on Instagram. Like my wife would say, I live on Instagram. So that's Instagram. My handle is at the Alfonso Aguirre. And yeah, so I mean, I'm also on Facebook and stuff, but Instagram is really where I'm the most. I like to post if anybody's interested in acting. I like to post acting tips, audition tips, or just anything that I think can be helpful for my students or anybody who's starting on an acting journey.
That's awesome.
Awesome. All right, Alfonso, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Gabe, and thank you so much for all your time, you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks to my friend Alfonso for telling his story and letting us get to know him a little more. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you next time. Peace out.